Many people assume car batteries simply wear out with time, but the reality is far different. Everyday driving choices unknowingly shorten their life dramatically. Here's something that might surprise you. In Japan, it's common for the battery that came with the car to endure for 8, 10, or even 12 years without issues. Over in the United States, however, most vehicle owners consider themselves fortunate if theirs holds up for more than 3 years, and plenty fail even sooner. This gap isn't due to superior brands or advanced tech secrets. Often, it's the identical battery type in comparable cars. So, what's truly setting them apart? It's not chance or some mystical factor. It's a straightforward practice embraced by Japanese drivers and technicians that can easily extend battery longevity by 2 or 3 times. By the close of this presentation, you'll grasp why today's batteries give out prematurely, identify the subtle culprit sapping your battery's strength at this moment, and learn about that essential Japanese routine that allows batteries to thrive for more than a decade. Keep reading to the finish, as it will forever alter your perspective on maintaining your vehicle's power source. Number 1. Debunking the myth of declining battery quality. One of the most persistent misconceptions in the auto industry is that contemporary batteries are inferior to those from past eras. It seems reasonable at first. Vehicles now brim with gadgets, detectors, computing units, and ongoing power demands. Yet, this reasoning falls short upon closer inspection. In truth, current batteries surpass their predecessors in design. Enhanced electrode efficiency, stricter production standards, and superior oversight in manufacturing. Despite these advancements, their typical duration continues to shrink. The uncomfortable fact? The fault lies not in the battery itself, but in operational patterns. This disparity shines through when examining routines in the US versus those in Japan, revealing how usage profoundly impacts performance. Number 2. Astonishing insights from Japanese vehicle records. Data from maintenance logs and operational statistics in Japan reveal outcomes that many US motorists would deem extraordinary. Original equipment batteries routinely remain functional for 8, 9, or a full 10 years, all without relying on supplemental charging devices, emergency boosts, or unexpected power glitches. For instance, urban taxi operations in places like Tokyo report cars exceeding 180,000 miles while still depending on the factory-installed battery. In contrast, American experiences often involve abrupt battery breakdowns, particularly during colder seasons, after merely 2 or 3 years of service. The distinction boils down to this. Japanese approaches view the battery as an integral component of the overall vehicle ecosystem, whereas in the US, it's frequently regarded as a replaceable part with little thought to preservation. Number 3. The true mechanism of battery demise. Conventional wisdom points to harsh winters, advancing years, or sheer misfortune as the primary causes of battery failure. But from a technical standpoint, that's inaccurate. The predominant issue for lead-acid batteries is a process called sulfation. To break it down, each engine ignition draws significant power, leading to the creation of lead sulfate deposits on the internal plates. Under ideal conditions, the vehicle's generator reverses this by fully restoring the charge, dissolving the sulfate. This cycle is standard. Trouble arises, however, when recharging falls short of completion. Over time, the sulfate solidifies into irreversible crystals, reducing storage capacity, weakening starting strength, and hastening overall degradation. Critically, a vast number of US batteries seldom achieve that vital full recharge, setting the stage for premature end. Number 4. The silent saboteur, brief journeys. Here's a key insight into what accelerates decline. Frequent short drives act like a toxin for batteries. Initiating the engine from a cold state extracts a huge surge of energy. If the subsequent drive lasts only 5 or 10 minutes amid stop-and-go conditions, the generator lacks sufficient opportunity to replenish what's been depleted. Repeating this pattern daily keeps the battery trapped in a semi-depleted condition. This isn't mere routine deterioration, it's a gradual path to ruin. Interestingly, Japanese practices deliberately steer clear of such patterns, minimizing the cumulative harm that builds up unnoticed. Number 5. A distinct mindset among Japanese motorists. In Japan, automobiles are regarded as finely tuned instruments deserving meticulous care, rather than temporary conveniences to be discarded. This philosophy influences behaviors like reducing daily cold ignitions, opting for extended and uninterrupted outings, limiting accessory usage during engine downtime, and curbing avoidable idle periods. Yet, the cornerstone is proactive management of the battery's energy level, even if it's not always a deliberate focus. This integrated approach contrasts sharply with more casual attitudes elsewhere, fostering an environment where batteries can perform at their peak for far longer. Number 6. The essential Japanese practice for battery vitality. At the heart of it all is this. Japanese vehicle operators ensure their batteries undergo complete recharge phases with regularity. This isn't sporadic or left to fate. Ideally, every week or two, they facilitate near-total restoration through sustained travel at consistent speeds without frequent halts. This method effectively halts the progression of sulfation into a lasting problem. What's remarkable is its simplicity. No need for external devices, diagnostic gadgets, or specialized tools. It merely involves a driving style that many in the US rarely adopt, yet it yields transformative results in extending service life. Number 7. Limitations of the generator in isolation. A common assumption is that the vehicle's charging system takes care of everything automatically. While partially accurate, generators are primarily built to sustain existing charge levels, not to deeply revive a persistently undercharged unit. In today's cars, the engine control module oversees charging to optimize fuel efficiency, often dialing back output once it deems the battery adequate. Consequently, sulfation creeps in slowly, eroding capacity and leading to unexpected collapses. Japanese users factor this in by adapting their routines, whereas it's often overlooked in American contexts, allowing subtle damage to accumulate. Number 8. How engine auto shutoff features aggravate the issue. Vehicles equipped with automatic start-stop technology face heightened risks. This setup repeatedly drains the battery during stops and expects swift partial recoveries. But without periodic full recharges, degradation speeds up considerably. It's a major reason why such cars, often fitted with pricier absorbent glass mat (AGM) batteries, see them fail in just 2 or 3 years. In Japan, operators counterbalance this through mindful habits, ensuring the system doesn't overwhelm the battery's resilience. Without similar adjustments, the toll is noticeably steeper for many drivers. Number 9. Everyday customs in Japan that protect power sources. Cultural norms in Japan emphasize efficient journey planning, merging multiple tasks into single excursions, skipping redundant engine starts, and committing to drives long enough for all systems to reach equilibrium. They don't frame this as targeted battery upkeep. It's simply seen as responsible operation. The payoff? Batteries maintain elevated charge states, with clean plates and negligible sulfation buildup. Conversely, when batteries linger at 70 to 80% capacity, sulfate formations harden, resistance increases internally, and output weakens during demands. What appears as an abrupt malfunction on a frosty day is actually the culmination of prolonged neglect. Number 10. The pitfalls of superficial battery evaluations. A further complication stems from inadequate diagnostic methods. Standard checks often just assess idle voltage or impose brief stress tests. A compromised battery might register a healthy 12.6 volts, yet falter under real cranking pressure. Japanese practices prioritize comprehensive assessments of actual charge condition and true capacity, going beyond mere surface readings. To achieve battery endurance spanning a decade or more, shift from reactive replacement, waiting until failure strikes, to proactive restoration. This mindset encapsulates the genuine key to the exceptional battery performance observed in Japan. Number 11. The overlooked culprit, the intelligent battery sensor, IBS. Most drivers have never even noticed the small black component clipped directly onto the negative battery post. That little device is called the Intelligent Battery Sensor, or IBS for short, and it quietly plays a far bigger role in battery-related headaches than almost anyone realizes. In modern vehicles, this sensor constantly measures voltage, internal temperature, and the actual charging current flowing in and out of the battery. It sends this real-time data to the vehicle's energy management system so the computer can decide exactly how much or how little The alternator should charge at any given moment. The goal is fuel efficiency and precise power distribution. But here's where the trouble begins. When the IBS starts to fail, gets corroded, or simply begins reporting false readings, everything goes wrong behind the scenes. The vehicle's computer receives bad information and thinks the battery is perfectly healthy and fully charged, even though in reality the battery is steadily losing capacity and becoming weaker with each drive. So the smart charging system reduces or even stops proper charging. The pattern that follows is painfully common. The car starts fine for a while. Then one morning it cranks slowly or won't start at all. You replace the battery, often with a more expensive one. Everything seems fixed until the exact same thing happens again a few months later. Dealers and independent shops see this scenario week after week. Perfectly healthy batteries being replaced over and over because no one checked the $30 to $80 sensor that was actually the root cause. Other warning signs of a failing IBS include sluggish cranking even with a new battery, inconsistent or weak charging behavior, repeated low battery or charging system warnings on the dashboard. The solution is often surprisingly straightforward and inexpensive. Carefully inspect the sensor's wiring harness and plug for corrosion, especially around the negative cable area. In many cases, technicians temporarily disconnect the IBS and observe whether charging behavior and starting performance improve dramatically. A proper scan tool can also read IBS live data and fault codes almost instantly. In vehicles equipped with start-stop technology or smart regenerative charging systems, the IBS is absolutely essential. If it's sending incorrect data, no battery, no matter how premium or how recently replaced, will ever perform reliably. Ignoring this tiny component is one of the most expensive mistakes drivers make year after year. Number 12. The invisible power thief, bad or weak ground connections. You could bolt the absolute best battery money can buy into your vehicle, but if the ground connections are poor, that powerful battery might as well be a couple of AA cells taped together. Electricity must travel in a complete circle. Current flows out of the positive terminal, powers every component in the car, and must return to the negative terminal through the vehicle's ground paths, mainly heavy braided straps or thick cables that connect the battery negative to the engine block and to the chassis/body. When these critical ground points become loose, corroded, painted over, or internally damaged, the return path is restricted. The result? Voltage drop, insufficient current delivery, and a cascade of electrical problems. Common symptoms include slow or labored cranking, headlights that dim noticeably when you try to start, clicking noises with no cranking at all, random flickering interior or exterior lights, intermittent or complete electrical failure. What makes bad grounds particularly dangerous is how deceptive they are. The outside of the cable might look perfectly normal, shiny insulation, no obvious fraying, while inside the connection is severely compromised by hidden corrosion or a loose bolt. Tow trucks frequently bring in vehicles labeled dead battery, when the real fix was simply cleaning corrosion from a ground mounting surface, removing paint or rust from the contact area, tightening a single bolt that had worked loose over time. To inspect your own grounds, trace the large negative battery cable to its chassis or engine attachment point. Make sure it is bolted tightly to clean, bare metal, no paint, no heavy rust. Check the smaller engine-to-body ground straps, often braided, for green corrosion, brittleness, or frayed wires. Any questionable ground should be cleaned or replaced immediately. Poor grounds don't just prevent starting. They can confuse sensitive sensors, trigger false warning lights, cause erratic transmission shifting, interfere with fuel delivery, damage expensive electronic modules over time. Before you ever blame the battery again, verify the ground connections. In many cases, the entire problem disappears after 10 minutes of cleaning and tightening. Number 13. The silent nighttime killer, parasitic current draw. You lock the car, walk away, everything appears completely normal. The next morning the battery is stone dead. No lights were left on, no doors ajar, no obvious mistakes. This is the textbook presentation of parasitic drain, one of the most maddening and frequently misdiagnosed battery killers. Something inside the vehicle is continuing to draw power long after the ignition is off. Even tiny amounts of current, when left on for 8 to 12 hours every night, can completely flatten a healthy battery in just a few days. Typical offenders include glove box or trunk lights that stay on due to faulty switches, aftermarket radios, amplifiers, or dash cameras wired directly to constant power, USB chargers or phone mounts left plugged in, faulty alarm systems, keyless entry modules, or infotainment units that never enter sleep mode, stuck relay contacts or malfunctioning control modules. Diagnosis requires patience and a multimeter. Turn the vehicle completely off, close all doors, hood, trunk, and wait 20 to 45 minutes for all systems to enter sleep mode. Disconnect the negative battery cable and connect the multimeter in series, set to amps, between the negative post and the cable. Normal parasitic draw is usually under 50 milliamperes, 0.05 amps. Anything consistently higher points to a problem. Pull fuses one at a time while watching the meter. When the draw suddenly drops, you've found the guilty circuit. Quick, visual nighttime checks can also provide clues. Faint glow from inside the cabin. Small indicator lights that never turn off. Screens or buttons that remain dimly lit. Parasitic drains are frustrating because they're invisible and intermittent, but once identified and corrected, they permanently stop the cycle of, "I just replaced this battery 6 months ago." Always treat the cause, not just the symptom. Number 14. The simplest and most overlooked fix: dirty or loose battery terminals. The battery terminals may look like minor details, but they are literally the doorway through which every amp of power enters and leaves your vehicle's electrical system. When terminals become loose, covered in corrosion, or coated in grime, the battery can be in perfect condition and still behave like it's dying. That familiar white-green-blue powdery buildup is corrosion caused by battery acid vapors reacting with metal. It doesn't just look bad, it dramatically increases resistance, choking current flow the same way rust clogs a water pipe. Warning signs of terminal problems include headlights that dim when you turn on the blower or rear defroster, slow cranking even with a known good battery, intermittent clicking sound instead of cranking, random system warnings, or erratic gauge behavior. Before you spend money on another battery, do this 5-minute check. Try to wiggle each terminal by hand. If it moves easily, it's dangerously loose. Tighten both terminals securely without crushing the post. If corrosion is present, disconnect negative first, then positive. Clean terminals and posts thoroughly with a wire brush or battery terminal cleaner. Neutralize remaining acid with a baking soda plus water solution. Rinse and dry completely. Reconnect, positive first this time. Apply a thin coat of dielectric grease or petroleum jelly to prevent future corrosion. This basic maintenance step has saved thousands of drivers from throwing away perfectly good batteries. In reality, a large percentage of batteries that failed were never actually dead. They were simply electrically isolated by dirt, corrosion, and neglect. These 4 hidden issues explain why so many people feel trapped in an endless loop of battery replacements. Address them properly, and suddenly your batteries start lasting years instead of months.